What's happening? Todd Falcone here again. No, this is not another naked blog post. It just happens to be rather warm in my office, so I'm shirtless. All right, very important tip. Here's the deal. When it comes to going out and building your business, you've heard the term sorting, not selling, or you need to sort through prospects. And is it sorting or is it selling? Is it sharing? Is it what is it? Is it numbers game or a people business or whatever? I mean, we hear all sorts of things. I'm gonna square it all up for you. It's a number of things. Number one, it's certainly a people business. Networking is all about people. It's all about exposure. It's all about interacting with other human beings, networking with other human beings. It definitely is a numbers game, and that's something that you just need to accept. Even when you're at a very high skill level, you're still going to need to play the numbers in order for you to work through and find talent. I mean, that's essentially what it is that you've got to do. It's an issue of talent scouting and working through the numbers and working through people. Just part of the process. Accept it. There is something that I do find happening, and that is when people prospect, they start putting people in the information pipeline, and they tend to just kind of hang on to those people. It's like they're these hovering, like they're like a little spaceship, and they're hovering over their prospect, and I don't know, they just kind of are waiting and hoping and wishing that they're going to come in, and I know what that's like. I mean, you start off and you got somebody who's interested, who's intrigued, that's showing some level of interest, and then, they make excuses. They don't show up on follow-up calls. I will tell you this. There are certain signs that prospects give you that are pretty clear. Like, for example, if I've got a follow-up call with somebody and it's scheduled and I call them up and they're not there, it's a pretty clear sign that they're not interested. Other things that happen include maybe making a couple of calls. Maybe they're warm and then they start to cool off. Here's what I found. Chasing people never leads to business. So I've been a liberal user of something. It's a really high technology tool. It's very, very difficult to find. I've got a couple of them, so if you want one, I can, they're probably like $500 each. No, I'm kidding. Come on. You see this right here? This is called a Sharpie pen. And it's a little bit different than this right here. This is an ink pen. Sharpie pen, ink pen. Sharpie pen, ink pen. Now, I keep a prospect tracker that I use when I'm talking to people. So it allows me to kind of know who's in the pipeline and who I'm keeping an eye on, who I'm taking through the process. And then when I find somebody who is not returning my phone calls and decides to either through their own actions that they're not going to return my calls and whatever the case is, or they decide to say no, if you notice something, there's a big black line right there. And that black line is a black line with a Sharpie pen. A Sharpie pen is actually your closest and easiest method through to get yourself in a position of not becoming emotionally attached to prospects. It's really easy when you have somebody you're talking to and you're excited, and they're going, oh yeah, I finally got somebody, I'm so excited, and then they cool off or they disappear. They play that, they become part of the prospect protection program and they disappear and they change their name and you can't ever find them again. I mean, I've had that happen, so I've had it happen more than one time. In fact, I've had it happen many times over my career of being involved in network marketing. But instead of chasing, what you do is you take that Sharpie pen and you just draw a line through their name and through their contact information so you can't read it. So even in a moment of desperation, even in a moment where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so desperate, maybe that person will finally join, I should maybe call them. No, I can't, because I can't even read their name and phone number. How do you like them apples? Makes it real easy. You just put a black line through their name. You've heard me say it before. If you haven't, go invest in a Sharpie pen. They're cheap. It's permanent ink. You put a little line through the prospect's name. Now you can't call them again. Makes life a lot easier. Gets you away from becoming emotionally attached to your prospects. Don't get emotionally attached. There's always somebody else to talk to. Just remember that. Sorting, that's what it is. Sorting, not selling. It's kind of like this. This is a great example of sorting versus selling. Imagine this. Your job is to be an oyster shucker. And you're sitting at the end of the pier and you've got buckets and buckets and buckets of oysters, and you've got this little, paring knife that you use to pop open the oyster and see if there's a pearl in it. And most oysters don't have pearls, but your job as that oyster shucker is to crack that thing open and look at it. And if there's a pearl, you put it in your little satchel or your little bag. And then, if you pop one open and there's no pearl, you just toss it, right? Well, you don't actually do this, do you? I mean, this is not something an oyster shucker would do. You wouldn't actually grab an oyster. I wish I had an oyster right now, so just imagine my hand's an oyster. You wouldn't actually grab the oyster and pop it open and look at it and go, please, can you please create a pearl? Just blow on it. Pray over it, meditate over it, beg it, plead it. Please, please, can't you create a pearl? Come on now, create a pearl for me. Burn incense over it, sage over it. You don't do that. There just isn't a pearl that exists in that oyster. So you just take it and you toss it. You take one, it's not in there, you toss it. That's kind of what you're doing in prospecting. You're looking for the pearls. You're not looking to make a pearl. And I'm not saying that somebody who's average or brand new or has never tried network marketing or somebody that you think, it's pretty obvious who the pearls are. And it doesn't have to be the superb expert, that, oh my gosh person every single time. Sometimes people surprise you. But don't get yourself in this position and get your hopes so up on one person that you sit there and you hover over it and you blow on them and hope that it's going to create a pearl, because it's not going to create a pearl. Be willing to blackline them with a Sharpie pen. Invest in a Sharpie pen. You'll get yourself away from emotional attachment, which is something you don't want to do. And this is Todd. We'll see you, I'm sure, on another blog post. Bye.